Welcome to today's 5 Good Minutes. You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of Jonah with Bjorklund.
Jonah is called by God to go to Nineveh and preach against it, and he goes to Tarshish. So what does Jonah run from? What do you and I run from when we go from the presence of the Lord? Certainly, there are reasons that we believe that our own path is better than the path of following God, obeying God, doing God's bidding. And often there are good reasons, but they're never good enough. And so here's what we see. Now the word of the Lord again came to Jonah, son of Amittai, saying, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry out against it, for their evil has come up before me." So here's the first thing. This was a difficult task. The great city implies its size, its scope. What God called Jonah to was a huge mission, to go to another place, a place that's hostile to people of faith, and to not just go and quietly kind of give a message, but to call out their evil and be a prophet of the Lord. If we could talk about what this is like in our day and age, this would be like saying, I would go to the most hostile place, you would go to the most hostile place to the United States and to its message and walk around saying, oh, you all are evil. Now that in our day and age may sound like it's culturally insensitive because there might be thought to be a sense of cultural imperialism in that. And in missions, we always need to be careful that we're not taking our culture and trying to give it to another culture, but taking the message of Jesus and bring it to whoever needs it. But this was difficult. There was danger in this because the people could very easily in Nineveh just say, who is this man? Let's kill him. But here's the real issue for Jonah, I think, and that is there's a sense of disagreement. And here's why we know this. Chapter 4, it says, "But it displeased Jonah exceedingly, and he was angry, and he prayed to the Lord and said, 'O Lord, is this not what I said when I was yet in my country? This is why I made haste to flee to Tarshish, for I knew that you are a gracious God, merciful and slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love, and relenting from disaster.'" What Jonah wanted is he actually wanted to see the Ninevites destroyed. And so there was a piece of him that said, I don't want them to hear the message of the Lord because the Lord may relent and then they won't be destroyed. And so Jonah's racial preference, maybe his own ethnic kind of superiority was coming out here where he's saying, I don't like those people. I don't actually want them to repent and to have the grace of the Lord in his life. So why do we sometimes run from the call of God? It's difficult. It can be dangerous. And sometimes there's a sense of superiority or disagreement. Now notice this phrase evil here. In our day and age, there's a tendency not to always want to call things evil, but the word runs through chapter 1 because there's the evil of the Ninevites, but then there's the evil that comes upon the sailors. Verse 7, "And they said to one another, 'Come, let us cast lots that we may know on whose account the evil has come upon us.' So they cast lots and it fell on Jonah." Verse 8, "Then they said to him, 'Tell us on whose account this evil has come upon us. What is your occupation? Where do you come from? What is your country? And of what people are you?'" Now, evil isn't always something that has a boomerang effect, meaning when you run from or avoid something that is in a sense a step away from God, evil comes into your life. But there is a time to ask that question, to say, am I having hardship, difficulty, because I've been running from the presence of God? I would be the first to say, be very careful not to make a straight line every time hardship comes, because there's a lot of hardship in our lives that comes simply from living in a fallen world. The Bible clearly teaches this in the book of Job, that Job was righteous and yet he had all of these hardships. But sometimes we're too quick to run to that and to not say, where Or why has this been so difficult? Have I been running from the call and the presence of God? And so today I just want to encourage you to ask the question, if you are experiencing something difficult, is it in a possibility in your life that this is a result of your disobedience or running from God? And if so, maybe turning immediately is the best course of action.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.